Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make some sourdough. She was in the refrigerator for almost 3 months and fed her, she instantly rose, and here we are. We are gonna make some sourdough today. So I'm gonna go ahead and feed this, and I pulled her out the refrigerator. And then I have my bread flour, which I'm almost out of, so I will be getting some more. I have a measuring cup, and then I have my kitchen scale. And based off the size of this, I'm going to probably feed her about 25-30 grams of flour, and then the same for water, so she can be at 100% hydration. I'm thinking maybe not as much water though, because this last one was really hydrated. So let me show you. This is what she looks like. You can see she already has like some bubbles in it. I think that's just from when it was cold. So again, I'm going to do 25 to 30 grams of flour and probably just 5 grams less of however much water. So she's almost at 100% hydration, but not quite. Turn this bad boy on. Her on. Zero her out. So let me zero this out. It's back to 0, and I'm gonna do like between 25 and 30. I'll start with 25 and give it a good stir. And as always, you want this to be like a thick consistency, well, thick muffin consistency, thick pancake muffin type. And I think that's what I have already. Wow. I just want to get everything incorporated. And you guys know that I'm absolutely obsessed with my sides being clean. So I'm going to scrape my sides, because once it rises, that's when I'm actually going to go in and do the, what do you call it? Oh, like start making the dough. What am I talking about? And I think I'm just going to do like a cheddar garlic loaf, because I have some leftover cheese. And then I'll do a cinnamon sugar loaf, and then just a regular loaf. I want to make smaller loaves, that's why. And this makes a lot of dough. As always, I just use a regular rubber band. So you guys go back and watch a few videos. You know I do have like a fancy elastic, but since I got this big jar, I use just a rubber band. But I'm just marking the current level of the dough. This should rise. This is a very active starter, and I'm expecting it to at least double, maybe even triple in size. My apartment is nice and warm because I'm always cold. I think that probably around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, this will be good, which means I'm gonna have to feed it again, because I'm not gonna stay up and do stretch and folds tonight. I just decided to randomly do this, so timing's way off. I should have started this in the morning, if I'm being honest. But that's neither here nor there. And I'm probably gonna have to feed it again in the morning, and then tomorrow I will actually go through and like do the dough and all the stretch and folds and all that fun stuff. 2 things. First thing is, it is 19:09 or 7:09 p.m. I forgot to tell you guys that. So I think by 9:30ish, this should have a nice good rise on it, and I'll let it do its thing overnight, and I'll feed it again in the morning. Second thing is, I found a rubber band, so I am just gonna put this rubber band around the coffee filter and just go that way instead of using the lid like kind of propped up. I don't want to risk it getting knocked off or anything like that, so I'm just gonna do that. And this will go in the corner. All right, so here we have it. It is 9:44, and I got some rise. It hasn't quite doubled, but it's going to continue to eat overnight. This is looking very alive and well on the inside. I will feed it again in the morning, like I said though, because my timing was just completely off. So I'll feed it in the morning, and then I will probably like make the dough around lunchtime, let it do its stretch and folds and all that stuff, the bulk fermentation, and then we'll go from there. She's a good strong starter, so I'll show you the feeding in the morning, and then we'll go from that. Good morning, wonderful people. So just like I said last night, I did get some rise overnight, and my timing was off, but you can see on the side how far it actually did rise, and I still got a little rise actually. But this morning I'm gonna go ahead and feed it with 75 grams of flour and 75 grams of water, because I'm gonna need a good bunch to make this loaf tonight. Let's see if I can get you guys. So there it is, it's looking good. Y'all, if you are considering starting sourdough starter, I would highly encourage it. It is simply flour and water that you let ferment over a period of days. Now, everyone on the internet is going to say 7 to 10 days, but I'm here to let you know that I started my starter from scratch and it literally took me almost a month. But I'm telling you, it's the easiest thing to do once you actually get your starter started. And let me tell you the other thing. You cannot kill sourdough. Like, I do know there's been some instances of like where it gets mold or whatnot and people end up having to do away with it. But let me tell you, I kid you not, I was deployed for 3 months and I set my starter in the refrigerator because I did not want anything to happen to it. And I came back, I simply let it get room temperature. I fed her, she doubled in size, and I was able to make bread with her immediately, because this is actually the second time I'm using the starter since I've been back. I had to do an experiment to make sure that she was still good to go. So you can neglect her, but I don't think you can kill her unless, again, it's something like mold or something. And there's pages on here that talk about that type of stuff. I come back for lunch. I have myself some nice good rice. I did not make it home as soon as I wanted to, but she is ready. Definitely have double in size. She has a lot of bubbles on her. So she is ready to be used. So here she is. She is very active. And she is ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing her up. Look at that. When it comes to the recipe that I'm using for my sourdough, the one that I have found and I like is Hopewell Heights. But what I've been doing lately is just trying to figure out my water to starter to flour ratio so that I can find the consistency that I like and continue to modify it based on the type of sourdough that I am looking to make. So I think there was a good starting point, and as in with most things or all things, you should make it your own or whatnot. But if you're looking for a very beginner friendly sourdough, I definitely recommend Hopewell Heights on like her blog or her YouTube page. I think it's absolutely amazing. And again, since then, and I've kind of got that piece down a bit, I've been modifying and trying to work with my ratios and the consistency I like, and then like the end product and the dough versus the rice. So after I let this sit for 30 minutes, I'm gonna just go in with a tablespoon of salt. Then I'm gonna do my first stretch and fold. And I don't add it all at one time. Is it weird that stretch and fold is probably like my favorite part? I just love watching the consistency change from the very first stretch and fold to the last stretch and fold. I don't know what it is, but I don't know, maybe it's the gluten development and the fact that like you can see the bread is forming a structure at that point. That's why I'm like kind of working on my measurements when it comes to how much I feed my starter, because I have a very hydrated starter. I'm just gonna mix this. But from this mixing, I'm still gonna do my first stretch and fold. And even though I'm like still learning, aside from my very, very, very first loaf that I made, which I started with this sandwich loaf, and I probably should have just started with a regular artisanal loaf or something like that. I have not had any bad tasting sourdough, if that offers you any consolation. It's pretty hard to mess up. This is my last stretch and fold before I let it do the fermentation on the countertop. It's already like starting to double in size. This is a very active yeast, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this one and then I'll let it sit. So you can see here what I was talking about as far as the dough really starting to take its shape as you do the stretch and folds. It becomes tighter, the consistency becomes smoother, and it just becomes that actual dough ball of sourdough or whatnot. I think it's really cool. And again, after I do this, I'm going to let it do its bulk fermentation before I actually shape the loaves. And I didn't film, or something happened with the camera, but you'll see. So my bad habit has been not pushing record. So you guys miss me dumping it out. You miss me flouring my hands in the surface, but you know what? It is okay. We live and we learn. I'm going to start with the cinnamon loaf. So I'm going to move this out the way for now. And then what I'm going to do, look at this, y'all. Can you see this? Active. This is my second time making a cinnamon loaf. The first time I did not use a lot of cinnamon sugar and I was very disappointed. So this time I am going to saturate it. But I did find something out. I think that I let my dough go through bulk fermentation for too long. It did double in size. It actually started to go like triple in size. But I think that's one of the reasons why, because it's harder to hold its shape. I found out if it does the bulk fermentation too long. So next time I make a sourdough loaf, I will keep that in mind, because you really kind of have to play it by sight. Timing is really not that good. This loaf came out fine, but I was just wondering why it was kind of hard for me to move and manipulate, and I think that's the reason why it went through bulk fermentation too long. But look at this. You guys see those bubbles? It's amazing. I didn't have too many issues with my artisanal loaf. You'll see that it is kind of flat after I let it do the cold fermentation in the fridge overnight, but it ended up getting a nice air and a nice bit of rise to it. Again, same dough, so went through the bulk fermentation process, but it still came out okay and very edible. You'll see at the end, no issues with that. I would say artisanal probably is my favorite loaf to make. It is definitely like the easiest, like as far as shaping goes and everything. But I do think I need larger Dutch ovens because mine gets kind of squished sometimes. I mean, actually, have you guys tried open bake? Because I actually enjoyed that. I was like, one of my concerns is the fact that I think I'm out of plastic wrap. So let's see. So these will both go in the fridge overnight, and I will bake first thing in the morning. Good morning, wonderful people. It is finally time to bake. The oven's preheated with the Dutch oven in. I got my parchment paper, so I'm going to take my lamb and pour and use it aside. So I told you last night that I sprayed and floured this, so hopefully nothing sticks. Here's my lamb. This came with my bread kit that I got when I first started sourdough. My only question is, there's supposed to be a rise when it's in the fridge, because I seem to never have that. Oh my God, I hope this isn't sticking. Mine is kind of flat, but it always comes out okay. And this was my cinnamon one. And a nice air pocket right there. It'll be okay. Now that those are in, I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. And then after 30 minutes, I will actually take the lids off and let them finish baking for another 10 to 15 minutes. So I have a nice crisp golden crust. And then I'm also going to go do a workout because it is morning. All right, everyone, the loaves are all done and I let them cool while I was at work. So this is the cinnamon loaf, and if you remember, they were in just a little bit longer because I was showering when the timer went off. And then this is just the traditional artisan loaf. It doesn't look like I got much rise. I did get a nice little ear, but we'll cut these once I get them to my husband. We'll probably just slice them up and then stick them in the freezer. I think that's the best idea. And then we'll go from there. So when we cut them, I'll be sure to share what the inside looks like for you. Here is my cinnamon loaf. I'm very happy with it. I will do a tighter roll next time to get a more swirl effect, but this one definitely had more cinnamon sugar flavor than the last. Let's see what my husband says.
Nope, there's the toast. As I put it in the toaster, put it on the floor. See, nice toast, as you can see. Nice round, all the cinnamon going around the entire bread. Pretty good. Ow, hot. You know what I do is I put a little butter on it. Cinnamon butter action, a little beet action. What a great day. Magnificent. And she does it all because she loves me. But who wouldn't? fresh beet juice with some citrusy stuff so it doesn't taste so earthy. Helps with the blood flow. Fresh homemade cinnamon bread. Can't beat it.